everybody. Happy New Year's. This is from a masterclass in YouTube kind of pairing that I did 3 years ago. I did a video on YouTube called Guitar Psychology, and it was in May 2018. And this piece of music was from that moment. And then I did an accompanying masterclass expanded lesson with tabs and a jam track. And I just wanted to revisit it because the idea of thinking about what you do is so important. And even beyond that, what is the music asking for? And I don't want that to sound lofty, but really every piece of music asks for something different. Every section of every piece of music might ask for something different. This one, as I revisited it over the last few days, and I redid the track, I redid the bass, I redid the drums, well, Nigel redid the drums, and it asks me for simplicity, but I have to remember to play simple. Anyway, I'd like you to see a clip before we get started of this thing I did 3 years ago. It's just like 30 seconds, and this is the original version on YouTube with the expanded lesson in the masterclass from 3 years ago. Just check it out for a second. So there's lots of stuff in the masterclass with the word psychology attached to it, and I really think it's important to revisit. And this year, I think I'm going to talk about it a little more. What this song asks me for is simplicity, and I'll tell you the main reason for that, because there's so much going on in the track. The chords are changing fast. There's a lot of syncopation in the drums. And so let me try again and play more simple, because my default, and you might be like this too, my default is to play more and play more and play more. But if I play simple over this, it seems to serve the track better. So simple, I'm going to force myself to play simple. Here we go. Okay, I watched myself get complicated, especially here on there's a little place where you have to change keys. Now, but I tried to keep it simple, and to me it serves the song better. I think I'm doing a better job the less I play on this particular piece of music. So I always write the chords down so that I can kind of turn my mind off, and if I ever get lost in my mind, I just glance over at the chart and I can pick it back up again. Now, that particular time, I wasn't looking at the chords, but they're there just to keep me on track if I need to. Now, if you're playing with a band and you're rehearsing with a band and you're learning songs, you really need to wean yourself off of this at a certain point. But if you're creating and improvising and recording, nothing better than to have a chart sitting there that you can just look over and go, oh, that's where I am. But here's the key right here. This B flat chord right here, I have to go from C major to C mixolydian. And I love to put one twist in every piece of music I write because it's just nice. It's just a nice thing for the brain, nice for the listener too, to break out of, most of the stuff I do is very diatonic. And I love that. I love simple music, but it's nice to have to go, if I'm in C major for all of this, A minor, when it comes to that B flat, I have to switch to C mixolydian. And that's where I got a little complex. Then I simplified again. So the idea is if you forget your simplicity and you find yourself kind of just overplaying, then just dial it back. And the combination can be really, really good. The other thing I really like to do in this over the A minor section is the Prince minor 6th chord. So you might have noticed me going. Now let me just turn off the delays to demonstrate this. This is an A minor 6th chord with a 16th note push. And I did it up here too. I love to do that over the A minor, and it kind of changes the key also, but because there's no tonality on the A minor, I can get away with it. But that's a 16th note push. Let me show you. That upstroke happens on the last 16th note before the downbeat. And that's if you haven't experienced that, there's some lessons in the Masterclass on that. It's really a key to funk guitar and great rhythm guitar is the 16th note push. Drummers understand this, you know, they totally understand this, but a guitarist, you know, if you understand this, immediately your rhythm playing will get better. So before we move on, there is a special offer on the Masterclass just for the next 48 hours. And a lot of my videos are not monetized because like last week's I used a Tears for Fears song. They earn all the money from that video. So if you want to support the channel, just check out the Masterclass and see if it's right for you. And then opt out if it's not. You know, we have a 2-week free trial. So check it out. So before we move on to questions, I just want to talk about a couple more things. One way to really play simple is to do single string playing, and there's nothing wrong with it. Let me demonstrate that, and then I'm going to show you some different kinds of rhythm, and then we'll move on to questions. Okay, I just like to start out with a really firm concept. I want to teach something before we do Q&A. Here we go. So, single string playing forces you to be melodic, and it also sounds really good. I mean, just the tone, the connection between notes. And then all of a sudden you're doing a melody, you repeat that melody, vary the end of it, and you have sort of a tune. You have something to remember. So single note, there we go again, single string playing is really valuable for staying melodic and staying simple. Okay, but never overdo anything. Do it for a little while and then change up and do something maybe rhythmic. So I've found some really good rhythm parts over this and some that I didn't like as much. One of the things that really works well over this, now we can talk about single notes, is single note kind of percolating rhythm. That little thing right there, that was a 16th note push. Happened again. So single note, kind of percolating rhythm. Looking at the chart. A minor. D minor. F. And now we go to the B flat where it has to be mixolydian. And now let's do that A6, the Prince thing. Love that. Another thing I discovered is over the other section, the C major section is double stops. Now I'm going to turn off my drive pedal, make it cleaner. So this is kind of low in the range. To me, this is one of my favorite. If I had to choose one rhythm part, I would do this kind of double stop thing low. Here we go. repeating it. And it took me a second to find the right version of it. So once again, what is the music asking for? And that takes a while. Sometimes it could take me a few days to figure out what a piece of music really is asking for. And I don't mean to sound esoteric, but really it's really true. You should try stuff that doesn't work, try stuff that you don't like, and eventually you'll find stuff that you like. And in this particular case, it's playing simply, playing double stops, single note, single string, and then this Prince thing. So over the course of working this up, those are the things I found that I liked the most and that I think the music is asking for. Once more, there's a special offer on the Masterclass. Just click below if you want to check it out. Before I start answering questions, I did see something earlier. There was a question in Rick's live stream last night. I was talking about how I had done 5 Carlos Santana records and never met him. And somebody this morning, a few minutes ago, was asking how that's possible. Why would somebody at Carlos Santana's level need a session player? And that's a really, really good question. In fact, I think it was at Marky the Sharky who asked the question. That's a pretty cool name. Anyway, the way the music business works, a superstar like Carlos Santana, the way it works for him is all the painstaking, time-consuming weeks of work on building up a song are done by other people. And then he gets the song and he plays his lead guitar over it. Carlos, I don't think at this point in his life really cares much about record production or playing rhythm guitar. He's busy. He's successful. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He does what's essential. And business people will tell you this. There are books about this that I love to read. At a certain point in life, you only do what's essential. And what's essential for him is being delivered great songs by great players and great producers and then playing over the songs. And his voice is the lead guitar that plays over the song. So it's not that he can't do the parts, but we're all coming up with little parts and little things that we're agonizing over and spending days doing and hours and weeks and helping create something that he can create over. So that's how it works. At a certain point, when you do this your whole life, you don't want to spend every hour doing every job there is. And so I hope that makes sense to you. It's a very normal thing. I love to tell the story because, it's Slacker Deluxe that asked about Carlos. Okay, good. That's sort of close to Sharky the Marky or whatever that was. Anyway, this is very commonplace, and it's really kind of crazy that I never met him. But I love to tell the story because it's the I did 5 or 6 Joe Cocker records, and he was there all the time on all of them. But in Carlos's case, he doesn't live here, and a lot of the producers I know who did his records, they all lived here, and we all worked here, and we all got it done, and it was sent to him, and then he did his work, or he came down later and did his work. So it's a really common thing. But I love to tell the story because it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. I'd love to meet him someday. Don't have to, but you're really wonderful. Same for Paul McCartney, leaving others to play. I think Paul is more involved. I know his band members, and they're a bit of a family. That band, it's pretty great. It's kind of a dream come true for those guys. Bit of a family. So, yeah, PRSs are total great. Oh, here's a question: how to bend vibrato? Struggling? It's from the wrist, guys. Okay, so my guitar teacher, who was like the best guitar teacher in the world, who taught me for 2 years, from age 12 to 14. That's my only training. It's from the wrist. That's where the power is. So if you turn the wrist, just exaggerate it by turning, shake your guitar if you have to. Don't make it from the fingers. That's not where the strength is. All the strength comes from the wrist. It's just like tennis or golf or anything like that. And then exaggerate it like that, and then bring it, closer to a smaller movement. But all the strength comes from back here on the wrist, whether you're pulling a string or just hitting a note. And then also, if you're pulling a string or, using your third finger, you can always back up with strength from these two fingers. You always, when you pull a string, I always at least use my second finger to help pull it. But even when you vibrato, if you want, you can, put all three fingers down and make your vibrato slow and musical. That's the other thing. I'm not a fan of fast vibrato. I mean, that's cool. I need to do that more sometimes. That's more B.B. King, I think. But generally, I like the slow. I just default to kind of one vibrato, and it's on the slow side. I don't think it's Clapton. And Clapton did do it from his fingers for a little while. So hey, to each his own. To each his own. But for me, it was always from the wrist. But I looked at these old films of Clapton, and he did use his fingers for some things. So everybody, you need to check out Keith's video. 5-Watt World is video on the guitars of the Beatles. I was fortunate enough to actually participate in it, and it's a really great video. His videos are legit documentaries, and they're all great to watch. You also, I told you about Corey's channel, Corey Congilio, and then also Jeff McErlane. These guys are all really good friends, and they all have helped me greatly with ideas and advice and support. And it's great to be friends with these guys. They're really wonderful people, and they need to be supported too. Ed, hey, thank you so much. Mild-mannered guy telling the truth. Yeah, if you knew what was going on inside me, there's nothing mild going on inside me, I'll tell you that. The 16th note up technique you talked about. So 1, 2, 3, 4, bah! So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, bah! It's that last 4. Some people count 1 E and a 1 E and a, but right now I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's that last 4. So if your hand is going like this, if you're going, it's that last upbeat before the last downbeat. And it could happen a lot more often, of course. I always try and blend opposites. Like if I do something pretty, I try and do something ugly. If I do something fast, I try and do something slow. If I do something melodic, I balance that with something bluesy. So I consider this to be pretty sweet and pretty. I'm tracing an A minor chord. So then I would play a blues lick. Right? So I'm combining an A minor shape right here with a blues lick. But seeing the chord shapes everywhere is really the key. And if you start simple, if you can see A minor everywhere, and I swear to you that it's not hard, then you're off to the races. So if you see a triad here, there's another triad here. There's another triad here. Here's an A minor 7 triad. Here's an A minor triad. Here, here, here. And then all the extensions. Like the A minor that I was doing here was A minor 7, A minor 6th. A minor 6th is the Prince thing. I mean, he didn't invent it, but it's a great way of describing what he did a lot. So see the chord shapes everywhere. And then look, this is an A minor triad. This is an A minor 7 triad. Here's one. It's just recombining the notes. So I think it's your responsibility to actually start seeing the map that is basically every chord in every position on the neck. And once you take that responsibility, it'll start to open all this up for you. I mean, that's something that a word I don't use with students as much, because I'd be careful with it, but you do have a responsibility to study and learn where everything is on the neck. I mean, you need to learn where an A minor scale, a C major scale is on every string. Once you see the chords and the scales everywhere on the neck, you'll be pretty free. You'll be pretty free. And I maintain that it's not that hard because, if you took a couple of years in your spare time to learn this stuff, it's yours forever. You never forget it. You never do. It's like riding a bike. Hey, Jeremy from the UK. Thanks for checking in. I'm doing great. I love the holidays. It's my favorite time. And we had an amazing December of rain, which we really, really needed. Okay, so I'm going to play a little and then take a few more questions. Here we go. I think I'll turn on my. You know what, Nigel? Let's switch to the other camera, and I'll just show you this crazy amount of stuff that's sitting here. And I promise you, I'm going to clean it up soon. But it's not very organized right now. I mean, everything's plugged in where it should be. So I'm going to turn the camera. Okay, let me just get this right there. Okay, press that. So that's called the enhancer. They sent that to me, and I'm checking it out. I'll get back to you on that. And then look at how disorganized this looks. Now, these pedals are all plugged in, but you know, when you make videos, sometimes you let everything go by the wayside. So there's my little Zoom recorder. There's my mouse that I use all the time. Vermeram shanks, vintage Mostortion, vintage ODR1. There is a super sweet buried behind that. Then I've got my Eventide Eclipses that I'm not really using much right now. I've got my very ancient tuner. I saw Tom Bukovac doing a intonation job with this tuner the other day on his channel. I was very pleased with that. Jason, what thickness do I use for soloing? I use a very heavy sharp pick. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so now we go to a keyboard, which is lighted up, which I love. And then that's what I'm seeing. I see Pro Tools, and then I see my Echo Boy plugin, which is bypassed. And then I see the chat for questions. And there's the chart sitting there. And then another very disorganized cacophony of pedals. But that's the boost I'm using right now, the boost line driver. I mean, look at that. It's like